everyone! Well, after another long day, we planned day 4 of our project to essentially be a travel day. That meant after several weeks of being nestled in our cozy little campsite in Silverton, we had to move on.
We're saying goodbye to the San Juans and starting to head up towards Grand Junction.
So it is day 4, which will be a little bit of a travel day. We're still gonna hit, of course, distilleries and breweries and coffee shops and water features and flowers and all that fun stuff, but no hike today. So,
Rest day.
Alrighty, well let's hit the road, Jack. But before leaving the campsite, we decided to take advantage of the beautiful wildflowers that had been surrounding us and feature our 4th wildflower.
We've been in Silverton for a few weeks now, and we've been lucky enough to have a campsite surrounded by a bunch of beautiful flowers. One of my favorites is this one, called Fireweed. This one grows from elevations ranging from the foothills, so probably like, I don't know what that technically is, but up to subalpine, which is about 11,500 feet. And it is native to Colorado. About a half-mile away from our campsite, we made our first stop of the day, our 4th brewery, Avalanche Brewing Company. Avalanche opens at 11 a.m. and we were right there at the door waiting like a couple of Black Friday doorbusters.
In proper style for the area, there's a cool ski theme throughout the brewery.
The beer and food here have always been amazing and seem to somehow keep getting a little bit better. We're at Avalanche Pizza. I've been coming here every year pretty much since 2011, I think. And it's pretty rare to find a place in the mountains that actually has good food, good beer, and decent enough service. So, cheers to Avalanche. This location is pretty cozy and doesn't really have a lot of seating, but in November, Avalanche is slated to move into a new, larger place right on the main street through town. I can't wait to stop by next summer.
After the brewery, our travel day began with our 4th scenic drive, the $1 Million Highway from Silverton to Ouray. This stretch of road was built back in the 1880s. It's said that an early traveler experienced bad vertigo on the road and said he'd never travel it again, even if he was paid $1 million.
After 10 miles, you reach the high point at 11,018 feet on Red Mountain Pass.
Finally, we arrived at our 5th water feature, Crystal Lake. So we are here at today's water feature. This is Crystal Lake. Crystal Lake is right off of Highway 550, just north of Red Mountain Pass. One of the best things about this lake is that you can drive right up to it. It's right on the side of the highway, so no hiking required. If you get here when the weather is clear and calm, you can get a really beautiful reflection of the red mountains in the background, and it's also surrounded by tons of wildflowers. So it's a pretty great stop if you're driving Highway 550. As you make your way down into Ouray, there's several areas of mining ruins. From here, the rest of the road into Ouray is twisty, turny, and all downhill.
The drive to Ouray is about 23 miles one way, and full of steep grades, tight switchbacks, unguarded drop-offs, and of course, amazing views.
The worst of the big drop-offs are on the uphill side of the traffic, so if you don't like heights, make sure not to drive southbound.
The views of Ouray from the last few switchbacks are pretty hard to beat. We drove straight through town and made our way to Ridgway to visit our 4th coffee shop, Crumb Bakery and Cafe.
So we just drove from Silverton over to Ouray, and now we're on our way to Montrose. And in between is this little town called Ridgway.
And there's a nice little bakery and coffee shop that my friend recommended, so we're stopping in there. Crumb is a vegan and vegetarian coffee shop, and all of the food looked delicious.
Though we didn't eat anything, the Americanos we ordered were just what we needed for a few more hours of driving. Well, it is a hot Colorado summer day, so I decided to get an iced Americano.
I got a hot Americano because I don't believe in iced coffee.
Well, either way, whatever you prefer, I think it's pretty darn good. I'm impressed.
Properly caffeinated, it was time to hit the road again. Our next stop was Distillery number 5, Storm King Distilling Company out of Montrose. The tasting room had a cozy feel to it, so we eagerly bellied up to the bar to see what they had to offer.
They didn't have any whiskey yet, but they had a gin, agave blanco, silver rum, and a vodka.
Hi, I'm David Fishering, the co-founder and distiller at Storm King Distilling Company. Our big focus is in our motto, craftsmanship without pretense. Everything we do from our distilling, our bottling, our cocktails in the tasting room, we approach from that idea of being truly craft. But at the same time, we're not pretentious about it. We want to be welcome to everybody, from your whiskey snob to your person that wants to throw in Coke into every spirit they drink. We don't care. Behind me, you've got all our barrels. Whiskey is aging, and we're really proud of our whiskey because it's all Colorado grain. Every bit of the ingredients for our whiskey is grown in Colorado, and so we're a true farm-to-glass distillery.
Even though they didn't have whiskey, we still enjoyed a few drinks. Mandy sipped on a classic cocktail, and the bartender broke out a bottle from the bag, which I believe was a barrel-aged agave.
We got yet another stamp in our passport book from a place we'd probably never visit if it weren't for the Colorado Spirits Trail. It's pretty neat to go to these new places we've never heard of.
Without missing a beat, it was time to hit the road again and head to Palisade, where our next 2 stops awaited us.
Soon enough, we started seeing the classic peach orchards that Palisade is known for.
Our first stop in Palisade was Distillery number 6, Peach Street Distillers. Now, you know we're making progress in our project when we start having to use 2 hands. So, we found a place to park the camper for the night and headed out to enjoy a few drinks.
We had high hopes going into Peach Street, but from the moment we saw the crowds and got a hot dog stamped on our hands by the bouncer, we knew we hit this place on a bad night. Turned out, the Peach Festival was going on. It felt like the whole place was a college party or something.
What do you do? We went to the smaller bar inside and managed to convince the guy behind it to give us a quick tasting of their whiskeys. He didn't really know much about the product though. Fortunately, they had a pretty detailed list of spirits with tasting notes that we could follow along with.
All of that being said, the spirits we tried were pretty delicious. When we ordered drinks, I got an old-fashioned and was surprised to see how much effort she put into making the drink and then just poured it into a Dixie cup.
I tried to order their barrel-proof bourbon, but the bartender informed me that she just couldn't serve that because it was too much of a liability. Whatever that means.
Regardless of how good the spirits were, hitting this distillery on the night we did left a sour taste in our mouth. So we'll have to go back during the week to see if that changes.
At least we got to watch a pretty sunset while sipping whiskey out of our Dixie cups.
Old-fashioned in a plastic cup. On the patio, we met a couple who had gotten a sitter and were enjoying a much-needed date night. They kept us company as we finished our drinks and then decided to join us for our next stop.
From the distillery, it was less than a 5-minute walk to the 5th brewery of our journey, the Palisade Brewing Company.
Being a Friday night, there was live music and the place was packed.
We drank a few beers, devoured some barbecue nachos, and enjoyed conversation with our new friends.
The Grand Valley. Man, is it grand. There's so many things to do.
What do we love about the Grand Valley?
It's really hot and dry.
Which is nice. Mild winters, but the biggest thing is the outdoor stuff. We love doing the outdoor stuff. You got rivers to ride down, you got mountains to climb, 360-degree mountains.
Finally, after another long day, it was time to head back to Little Bear and sleep in the parking lot.
After just 4 days of exploring Colorado, we're continuing to make great progress on our 98 featured items. 2 14ers, 6 distilleries, 5 breweries, 4 coffee shops, 4 flowers, 5 water features, and 4 scenic drives.
Wait, you're telling me it's only been 4 days? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to follow along with the rest of our Colorado 14er project by subscribing to this YouTube channel. You can also find more information about each day with links to where we went, information on our photography workshops, and guided backpacking trips at www.mandyleaphoto.com. So, here's to 10 more days exploring colorful Colorado. Love and light.
Avalanche Brewing Company, the 4th Brewery, Distillery.
Distillery.
All right.